Hello, hello, and welcome to the Good Girls Get Rich podcast. I'm your host, Karen Yankovich, and I want to start with a little bit of a reminder of what is at the heart of this show. At the heart of this show is Good Girls Get Rich, right? What does that even mean? I want you to really stay in the space of your zone of brilliance. What are you so good at that you can do and you love to do all the time? And when you stay, I believe when you stay in that space as much as possible, that's where the abundance comes into our life, right? Good girls get rich. That is why we've got this show. That is why I have the LinkedIn for Women community. If you go to linkedinforwomencommunity.com, it's a free community. I'm there to support you on me. That's my gift to you. That is why I've created our She's Linked Up programs. I want more women stepping into wealth, stepping into visibility, because I want there to be more wealthy women in the world. Women with money can change the world. You know that. You know that, right? And I want you to be one of those women. So I have, I spend a lot of time lately curating who I spend my time with. I just want there to be more positive and energetic women in my life. And I had a conversation recently with a couple of my friends who I fall into that category. And I started taking notes during them. We had a Zoom call, like kind of all over there. There are people I met through my business, but we don't ever talk business anymore because we're all doing kind of different things than when we first met. But so it was a life catch up, but it was a Zoom call. And I'm like taking notes because there was just so many things that I thought I really wanted to talk to you about. It sparked today's topic, and it really was about the trust deficit that we have in this world. Now remember, these are smart, positive, uplifting, successful women. Some of the most positive women I know, right? And I know a lot of positive women. And it really was, there was a couple of statements that were made that I wrote down, and I told them, I said, you guys are going to hear this on my show because I really think that this is we can't say this stuff enough. It's so important to talk about this stuff. So as usual, I'm going to be dropping 3 tips in 3 minutes on how to stay aligned, how to stay credible, and how to stay powerful, even in the chaos. And what chaos am I talking about? I'm talking about things like AI. Do we even know if people are real or not anymore? Do we even know if comments are real or not? Like, how are we having conversations with real people, or are we wasting our freaking time? Right? The trends, what's happening, how do we, and it isn't about being trendy, right? I don't really care about being trendy. It's about understanding the trends and aligning your life and business to the trends that align with your values, right? And just the uncertainty around everything, right? The uncertainty around everything. Am I going to have a job? How am I going to get my next client? What is going to happen with my kids, my grandkids? Uncertainty. I'm sure I don't have to dive deeper on that. All right. So we're going to dive in right now with our 3 tips in 3 minutes. Tip number 1. Trust starts inside you, not out there. You can't control what's real online anymore. You can't, but you can build self-trust. You can build credibility through your own actions, your own presence, having more consistency in your life. This is why I do the work I do. This is why I'm on LinkedIn, human to human. People know you're real when they have an actual phone conversation with you, at least at this moment in time, right? Or when they actually have a Zoom conversation. This is why we incorporate PR into everything we do, because if you're being interviewed on podcasts, it's hard to fake that, right? It's hard to fake that. So even more than ever, building that know, like, and trust factor is so, so important for your success in your life and in your business. Number 2, holding your center is a radical act of wealth. Okay, staying grounded in who you are, what you believe in, what you stand for. This is what makes you unforgettable. This is what makes you unforgettable, especially in this world full of noise. And it's okay to take a stand. We heard many years ago, don't ever talk about politics or religion. This isn't about politics and religion anymore. This is about humanity, right? And taking a stand for what you believe in. People, if they don't know what you believe in, they're going to hire somebody else, because we're living in a world right now where people want to feel aligned to the people that they do business with, and they don't necessarily want to invest in people that don't align with their same values. That makes sense? Tip number 3, a rising tide lifts all ships. We've heard that. It's corny, right? But I want you to be that tide. Be that tide when you lead, when you support, when you empower others. The whole ecosystem rises, right? Including your bank account. And this is one of the reasons why we still do guest episodes on this podcast, because I want to introduce the brilliant women that are in my life to you. right? Because that's how I can be that tide. That's why I ask you to share this episode. Not because I want you to raise me, because when you share this episode on your social media, I can share it. If you tag me and I see it, right? I can share it with my social media, and then we're raising each other up, right? Make a conscious effort to be that tide. Okay, we're going to dive deep into each one of these tips now. Let's talk about the trust deficit. The conversation that we had, my friend said to me, I don't believe anything I read or see. And this is one of the most positive people I know. If you like, I didn't ask her if I could share her name, or I would, because she's got a brand that is all about positivity and trust and love, right? So, and she's saying, I don't believe anything I read or see, because not because she's jaded, but because this is the world we live in right now, right? This is the world we live in right now. What that means is credibility is the new currency. You have to build that credibility. You probably have that credibility, but if you don't have it in a way that it showcases to other people, then they don't know you have that credibility, right? Hence why we bring the PR into the strategies we teach on LinkedIn, right? I want you to be, if I'm interviewed on somebody else's podcast, or I introduce somebody to you on this show, they get to borrow my credibility, right? If you met that same person somewhere else, you don't know them. They have no credibility. Credibility is something you need to build into your life and your business. It helps you on all levels, and it's something that you can create, right? Let's talk about AI for a second. AI certainly makes it easier to create content, but it makes it harder to create trust, right? So I love AI. In fact, if it's so funny, maybe if I can find it, we'll link to it. I'll find it and we'll link to it. I did an episode of the show a couple of years ago now saying why you shouldn't use AI on LinkedIn, right? Like I was so jaded. I was so against it. I'm like, no. I want to know I'm talking to people. Well, listen, I recognized a few things. Number one, AI is here to stay. So we can fight it, or we can, if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing, right? But also, it saves time. I mean, my ChatGPT is like my assistant. It saves me so much time. It doesn't write this show for you, but it certainly helps me create the post-production stuff for this show, right? It makes it really easier to create content, to create things like show notes, and to work on the SEO around all of it and everything, right? So AI, I'm not telling you not to use AI, but I'm telling you that because of the fact that there's so much, the AI is so ubiquitous into almost everything we do right now, it's harder for us to build trust. And that trust deficit is huge. I mean, you guys I don't know if you're seeing what I'm seeing, but I'm seeing coaches go out of business right and left right now because they're not taking the time to build that credibility and to build that trust around their brand. They might be an amazing coach, but if you don't do this piece of it, people don't trust. Right. And we're almost being taught not to trust now. Right. Which is so sad. And I hope changes. But right now, that's where we're at. So you need to incorporate trust. You need to remember, I've said this 1,000 times and I will continue to say this. Nobody logs into my LinkedIn profile but me. If I message you on LinkedIn, it's me. In fact, when I get messages from other people that say, hey, this is Mary, Susie's assistant, blah, blah, I get annoyed. If Mary doesn't have enough time to message me herself that she needs to, or Susie doesn't have time to message me herself that she sends Mary, her assistant, to message me, I don't want to talk to Susie, right? LinkedIn is the place where we talk to humans. It's virtual networking that's still human to human. And that's how you build trust. So some actionable strategy for you here. Show up as a real human being on LinkedIn. Get actual interviews so people can hear your voice. It's kind of hard to fake, especially like now with me talking, and if you're watching this on my YouTube channel or on my website where the video is, hopefully you can see that I'm a real human being, right? It's not just some AI bot that I said, here's what I want you to talk about and use Karen's voice and tell everybody about it. No, this is me, right? Use thoughtful posts, use your real face, use real results, use your real voice. It doesn't mean you can't use AI to do some of this stuff, right? But make sure it's you who's showing up on LinkedIn, right? And, this is what we teach in our program. This is, there's probably a lot of people who do what you do, right? There's a lot of people who do what most of the people in our She's Linked Up community do. We work really hard to have them stand out, what makes them unique, right? And by showing up with their zone of brilliance, with their unique zone of brilliance, and with that human to human energy, that's where the real value is. And that's where the magnetic approach comes in, where people start coming to you instead of you constantly chasing clients, right? It starts with building that trust. And today, more than ever, we must be doing that. All right, that second tip, holding your center, is that radical act of wealth. I know that sounds kind of like a pretty big statement, right? But I mean it with every fiber of my body. I and I have to get some help on this sometimes, right? And I'm sure you do too, right? We weren't born knowing how to navigate this world we live in right now. And I find myself having to talk to friends or talk to people that know more about some of these things than I do and saying, help me understand this, right? Because I do think it's important I talk about some of the things that are going on in the world. Because I want you to know where my values are aligned. So if your values are aligned similarly, maybe we're a good fit to work together, right? But I need to make sure that I am clear on what are the facts behind the things that I believe? What are the facts behind the things that it's really easy to get caught up in that rabbit hole, isn't it? Seeing a post and going, oh my gosh, yes, that, and then sharing it. Like, you need to make sure, you need to be sure. Because you want to be known as the person that their information can be trusted. Because that's what brings us wealth, because wealth isn't just about money. Wealth is about clarity and ownership and self-authority, right? Like having that authority to have a conversation on a topic that you've done the work on. And listen, feel free, if I'm talking about something here or anywhere else that you disagree with, but you feel like our values are aligned, I'm happy to have the conversation. Even if our values are not aligned, I'm still happy to have that conversation, as long as we can do it nice, right? Because I think that it's getting so much harder to have conversations because we're afraid to say things, because we're afraid we're going to say the wrong thing. So we say nothing. You must be speaking your truth, because when you're speaking your truth, you're letting other people know it's okay to speak their truth. And that's how we build this trustworthy, safe community that we can build our brand from and build our life from, frankly, right? It's not about catching every trend. It's about being a signal amongst all the noise, right? Being that lighthouse that shines, that attracts people to you, right? Maybe you need to have a little bit of a power anchor. If you go to Spotify and you look at my name, I have I Am Fabulous playlist. So on that playlist is what I sometimes need to shift my energy, right? Because sometimes it's easy to get taken down that rabbit hole, right? You walk into somebody's house and they've got the TV on and, certain channels that you do or don't want to watch. I mean, there's just no channels I want to watch right now, right? I like to read my news at this moment in time. So sometimes I need to shift, right, to hold my center. And for me, often it's music, right? Or some kind of a ritual. Maybe it's a walk, right? For me, I'm always looking to take walks by the ocean. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's pulling a tarot card, right? Whatever that is for you, understand that, figure that out, kind of right here, right now. Think a little bit as I'm talking about what that power anchor could be for you that can help you hold your center, right? Can help you understand that there are times you're going to need to shift your energy back to center, right? So work on getting a little help with it, right? It could be easy. It could be that easy. Let's talk now about that rising tide. The rising tide lifts all ships, right? And I'm asking you to be the tide. And here's the thing. If you are centered, let's just use light as an example, right? If you're a person that believes in holding light and you hold that light for yourself, that is going to help. It's going to help you feel safe. And I get that. But what I want is you to shine that light. I think of, back to my Catholic church days when I was growing up, where, you light the candles from the candle, right? Light, when you share it, it just continues to make more light, right? When you help others win, it doesn't take away from your success, it amplifies it. So even though sometimes it feels like all you got to do is what's right for you, and you do have to do what's right for you, I do think, and that's why in tip 2, I talked about using your voice. I think that it's important we share our light, because our light is, when we share our light, it makes the light grow and grow and grow and grow. And that's being the tide, right? It's being the tide that raises all boats. Collaboration over competition. I don't worry about competition ever. There are so many people out there. I'm not looking for every woman on the planet to be a part of my world, right? I love collaborations. Collaborations is probably what fuels the biggest, most profitable adventures in my business, right? So, your LinkedIn, your podcast, your blog, your YouTube videos, your public relations, the work that you do around that, it's not just to shine you, right? To spotlight others. to spotlight others. When you're seen as somebody lifting others, you get seen as the leader worth investing in. So think about that. Think about that, because I know that it's hard sometimes, and we definitely need to have our boundaries, right? I'm not saying get rid of your boundaries. I'm saying make a conscious effort to be the light, to be the tide, and to share that so that your light is growing and it's helping other people grow. And that's that ripple effect that we need right now. We need this right now. That's why I do this show. That's why I've got our free community, the LinkedIn for Women community.com. I would love for you to be a part of that. Just go on over to LinkedIn for Women community.com. And I, in my heart of hearts and my soul, I want there to be more wealthy women in the world. And I'm here to do that. We're making some changes into our She's Linked Up community to make it easier access for more women, because I want to be able to reach more women with this work. Right. So here's how we start. We start, if you're feeling it, by sharing this episode, right? Make sure you tag me so I can share it with my community. And then we're all getting our name out there. We're making that conscious effort to be the tide. Okay. Here's the thing. It is really important that you are taking control of your own destiny. You can take control of your own destiny. You don't have to chase trends. You are the trend. You're the one writing the story, right? Let the world catch up to you. There's no one that you're ever going to be able to count on as much as you can count on yourself, right? So it starts with you. It starts with you controlling your destiny, creating a process to control your destiny, creating a process to get your light in front of more people, right? I am here to help you with that. Always, always, always. I would love to do that. And again, the best way to start is just join us in the Facebook community, LinkedInforWomenCommunity.com. I would love to see you there. And we are going to grow from there. And let's do this. Let's do this. Let's create a world where women have a bigger voice. And a lot of times that bigger voice comes from the bigger bank accounts. It can be you, right? I certainly want it to be me. I want it to be you. Let's do this together.